All right. My brother called, and a buddy of his got the new Minelab Manticore, and so they wanted to know a few settings. I would definitely get a hold of Doc's Detecting. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but he has just killer equipment. I like the covers for it. This is actually when you're out in the sun. It's almost like a sunshade. I did take off the protective cover though. I didn't like that, but I do like this. So I'll show you the settings here in a second, but here's some of my better finds. I found this, and I thought it was a rooster. I found it about 3 inches down in old downtown Salt Lake in a mow strip. And I did a video, somebody told me to turn it over. It's actually a reindeer ornament from the 1930s that would have been in a Cracker Jack box. And the nose is a little wonky on it. Other than that, it came out of the ground just like that. Some pendants I found. These are all wheat pennies here. There's actually another one I found yesterday. Haven't cleaned it yet. We got silver. I found the first one when I was using my Equinox 800, this one here, next to the Gold Monster. And then I was having so much fun going out, because I used to only go to the Arizona desert. And I go to the parks and schools and get private permissions at people's homes and that kind of stuff. And I've just had a blast, because you can go to the desert and go days without finding anything. You can't go more than 2 minutes, a minute, and not find something. It might be junk, but you're finding something. So silvers, mercuries, we have a Rosie, a 1750s era Japanese coin, which is really cool. A big chunk of silver off of a bracelet, and silver rings, and there's some gold rings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I found this one 2 nights ago, 13. Solid silver. So we got 13 of those. Some pennies that have been smashed. $50 Kennedy. A silver pendant. Let's see, this I found last weekend at a volleyball court, and it was a very low tone, and he took my diamond tester. They're real diamonds. So real diamonds, and so it's about 1/3 of a ring. Pretty cool. I found the 44 wheat penny, and I got another signal in the hole. You always want to check your hole. I pulled this out. And this is a private permission from an old train station, the house that was next to the old train station, 125 years ago. It's a private permission I have. And so out of that same hole, I pulled this, real diamonds with a sapphire or a ruby. Is it ruby? No, it's sapphire. So my wife says it's an earring. I think it's a brooch, but anyways, it's cool. I found this. It's supposed to be a World War II trench art Nazi ring. I found this in a little park, and it was in between 2 roots that were probably this big. Another 20 years or whatever, it would have just squished it all together. And I almost stopped because I just got tired of trying to dig around the roots. And this, let's see, that was the second one I found. I found this. These are lead-filled, gold-covered with rubies dice, and this thing just sung when I went over it. Let's go out in the light and see. So it is gold. I've not tried to clean it, because you just devalue stuff if you start to try to clean it. Some of the rubies are there, some of them are missing, and so it was probably I posted these pictures. Well, let me tell you a story. So I got these. They were right next to a volleyball court, and I've confirmed the volleyball court's been there forever. And so I found it, was like, wow, it's crazy. Covered my hole up after I checked it. I took 2 more swings, got another signal, which was the same, and I pulled this one out. But unfortunately, I nicked it, and that's why I knew it wasn't solid gold, because they're heavy. That's why I realized, okay, they're lead with gold overlay, and then with the rubies. So I posted on a Facebook forum, and some guy said that it's probably like a professional gambler from the 1880s through the 1920s is where they date it. I found this. It's a silver thimble. I thought it was a gum wrapper at first. Then I realized it had the little mesh. Hold on, buddy, I'm doing a video, okay? Let's see, that's gold. That one's, I didn't find that. don't know if that's silver or not. It's pretty heavy. Let's see those. This I thought was gold, then I realized it was magnetic. This is probably a rabies tag or a dog tag from the 1930s. Again, I thought it was a piece of trash, but then I realized it had the hole in it. And there's some other YouTubers I follow, and they find these all the time. So those are some of the better finds. There's 3 ringers I found out in the desert, where this is pre-Civil War, one of the largest outposts, or the largest outpost prior to the Civil War was here in Utah, in a little town called Fairfield. And it was Johnson's army was stationed out there, 4,400 troops. And they were expected to go to war with the Mormons because the Mormons didn't want to become a part of America, the United States. And then the Civil War broke out, so Lincoln told them, leave everything, sell it, whatever, and head east. And so the story goes that they buried everything here in Utah, but then I've also heard other stories that they had an auction. And a lot of the ranchers and the LDS people, the Mormons, bought everything. And there's a lot of cool stuff. These are actually some of the better ones I haven't cleaned yet. Shotgun shell, and this is all within a month, 5 weeks. Shotgun shells. I mean, look at that nail, old school. A little key. That's just some of the clad pennies, dimes, nickels. Nickels on your Manticore will come in at 26.27, over and over, 26.27. Quarters, and matter of fact, where's the other one? So here is, let's see. So this is the 1903 I found. That's a V nickel. Whoops, and that comes up at a 28. I found this out in the desert. You can't see it, but it's a nickel. And it came in at a solid 28. So when you're digging that 26, 27, 28, it's normally going to be a nickel. If it hits 30 or 31 every single time, it's going to be a pull tab. At least here in Utah, every single time I'll get a good 26, 27, then it'll bounce to 30, 31, then back to 27, 28, and every single time. This is just some of the stuff I pulled today. I went out just for a little bit. Pretty cool. And I was only digging low tones and high tones. They had a 2-day concert, so I was just looking for stuff that was on the surface. Let's see, some other stuff I gotta clean up. There's some iron I've pulled out, just some miscellaneous things. Obviously can slaw and all that kind of stuff. This is just junk stuff. More aluminum, steel, and a lot of this stuff I pulled out in the desert. I got a permission on a 40-acre piece of land out there. Let's see, there's some brass. And I bought this ultrasonic cleaner to clean up a lot of the stuff, which I learned that you don't want to put the iron in there. Let's see. I found these in my own yard, and we built the house 28 years ago, so this had to be my kids'. This, I believe, is just a bell off of a wind chime. Here's some of the bigger iron I was trying to clean, but I ruined it by putting it in the ultrasonic. But a lot of that aluminum, what I do is I'll melt it down and I turn them into blocks. But now I'm starting to turn, I own a company called Skull Jewelry. I'm gonna start turning them into coins like that. And then every time I find a good target, this will be my calling card. I'll leave an aluminum skull coin in there. Let's see. So now, let me show you the settings. I would recommend, because this is what was recommended to me, I wouldn't change anything for probably the first 2 or 3 weeks until you dig a couple of hundred targets. You start to really start to know the VDI, which are the numbers. And so here's what you should do when you turn it on. Make sure we don't have that glare. All right. You're gonna hit the gear icon, which is right here. Here's your volume. You'll go up to 25. Go up one. Search mode. I was using fast, but you want to stay in all-terrain general. That's the factory default, so leave it there. Go to your noise cancel. You want to lift it up like most detectors, hold down this button here, and you want to keep holding it until you get the same number twice. So I went from -4 to -9. Now it hit -9 twice. So that's where you want to keep it. Put the coil back on the ground, scroll up one time to ground balance. Now this is something you want to play with, because a lot of guys online are saying you want to keep your ground balance at 0, because if not, you could ground balance out targets. You know, again, I don't know. I've always ground balanced, and the way you ground balance is you hold in the button and you just pump your coil up and down. And you see it's a 3, or you can go side to side, but it says that. And then when you're ready to go, just click that. See how that 2D screen right here, it'll paint the symbol. Yeah, it'll paint the symbol. So hold on one sec, bud. So these, where the shovel is, each one of those marks represents 2 inches. So if you're down 2 shovels, that's 4 inches. So that's a good target right there. But you're getting that red. So the red is telling you it's going to be iron. And so the way it paints it on the screen, see how it's all over the place? That's going to be a nail. Because it'll hit high because of the size of the target, but then it'll paint that ugly image. Let's see. Yes, another piece of iron. So see how my screen is grayed out here? That means I'm going to, it's not going to let those tones come through in this darker area. If you want to run the machine wide open, just click the horseshoe button, and now it's all pretty much the same color. That means you'll hit everything. Let's go back to that target. Let's see that. Let me turn that on. You see it's painting on the screen right through here. So show the circle. You can check out my other channels where I have a lot of videos, like TikTok. I just started going live quite a bit on there. So any questions, let me know.